When King Vladimir's guards led Eregän to the arena, they unceremoniously threw her into one of the impurgam cells. As they closed the door, Eregän pleaded, "Wait, please listen to me. This is a misunderstanding. I will never attack a person, much less the king. You must believe me. I don't want to hurt anyone." But the knights ignored her and left, leaving her all alone. Eregän was bewildered. She thought that if she could prove her innocence, the misunderstanding would be cleaned up. However, she heard the yearnings of some of the half-blood gladiators who shared the confinement. "Look, the novice thinks she can prove she did nothing wrong to get out of here, but that will only bring her more trouble." Eregän didn't share that view. She knew the arena's reputation for her time in the slave market and from what the queen and the prince had told her. Entering in it was like a life sentence that made you long for death. For the first time, Eregän felt a deep fear. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. "Don't listen to them. They are just trying to scare you, because they know you are trying to prove you're innocent to get out of here." Eregän searched for the source of that voice and realized it was coming from the next cell. In there, she saw a half-blood with features like a lion, his body marked with the scars of countless battles. Eregän asked him what he meant by that and who he was. The half-blood lion was about to introduce himself when another half-blood interrupted, saying it wasn't necessary as she or he will be here for long. Ignoring him, the half-blood lion introduced himself. "My name is Leonidas Ariel. Nice to meet you. And yours?" "Eregän. Eregän Dracarys. The pleasure is all mine, Leonidas." Eregän replied in a kind but nervous voice. Once Eregän finished her introduction, Leonidas told her to call him simply Leo. Then Leo asked Eregän the reason of her imprisonment, as she didn't seem like someone who would cause trouble. Eregän told him her story, the destruction of her village, the treatment she received for her masters, the rescue of the queen and the prince that led to her being kept in the castle as a slave, and finally the misunderstanding surrounding the attack of the king. Leo and the other gladiators listened to her attentively. One of the gladiators remarked, "Hey, I think I have heard about you. You're the untrainable half-blood, right? They say you wouldn't let them get away with anything, and that you disobeyed their orders because you were so wild, aren't you?" Eregän didn't know what to say about that. Another half-blood came in, saying he understood the situation. The king must have lied about the attack to get rid of her and send her to the arena. Eregän was in shock. She knew the king was strict but not cruel enough to fabricate a lie and frame an innocent woman or a person like that. Leo revealed that the king, driven by immense pride, will always do whatever it took to achieve his goals. Eregän then understood why King Vladimir had invented the story that she had attacked him the night before. It was a way to get rid of her and remove her from the castle. Eregän suspected the king might have discovered her secret friendship with his children, which helped him to frame her for assault. However, instead of sending her to the slave market again, the king had decided to send her to the arena, never to be seen again. Leo told Eregän, "I think he sent you here not only because of his lie, but because he knows you are very wild and thought that you will escape if he sent you back to the slave market." Eregän understood this logic, but she couldn't stop thinking that the king might do something terrible, like blaming her for something she never did. The hours passed and the evening finally arrived. Then a group of knights come to the impurgam. The one in charge ordered the prisoners and the new arrivals to be brought in. Eregän didn't know what was happening. She just watched as they brought out the prisoners and the other half-bloods who were there. Leo looked worried and she asked him if he knew what's going on. He answered with a concerned voice, "Yes, I know what is happening. and you have to listen to me very carefully." Eregän listened attentively, but she was also worried. Leo continued speaking. "Those guards are in charge of preparing the prisoners and the others for the initiation ceremony, which is when they bring in and train new gladiators for the arena. They will make you fight in each other. There will be 3 rounds. The warm-up, where you will fight with blunt weapons. Then the attendants will prepare the armors and weapons for the main event. You will have no ally by your side. You will have to defend yourself. Eregän, you are very young. You must survive." He had barely finished speaking when a guard arrived at her cell. The guard took Eregän out and led her along with the others to the battlefield to begin the combat ceremony. Upon arriving in the battlefield, which turned out to be the arena, the prisoners and the half-bloods, included Eregän, noticed that there was a crowd of spectators of all kinds, watching them as if they were part of a show. Then the drums announced the arrival of the king, who came accompanied by his family, the commander, and the captain. The host of the games proclaimed in an enthusiastic voice, "Kingdom of Tempest, are you ready to witness a spectacle that you will never forget? Because for today will not only be the initiation of the new gladiators, but is also a Ludi Meridiani." Eregän didn't understand the editor's words, and then he announced the beginning of the warm-up, where the warriors train and fight with blunt weapons so that way they do not suffer fatal injuries for the main event. After the warm-up, the host asked the warriors to proceed to the armory for the main event. Once at the armory, Eregän met with Leo and tell him what the editor had said about Luni Meridiani. Leo seemed concerned and explained that Luni Meridiani were execution of criminals, forcing them to fight each other to death. Leo warned Eregän to be very careful as the situation will be more dangerous than they imagined. The atmosphere was heavy, with an oppressive silence that foreshadowed a situation that presented itself as a great challenge. Although after all of that, Eregän had no intention of giving up. Everything was ready for the main event. The tension was palpable. The warriors made their entrance, wearing their armors. The host of the game gave the signal to begin the combat. The fight had barely begun when it erupted with ferocity. The criminals managed to wound some warriors, but most were quickly neutralized. Eregän proved to be an excellent fighter, defending herself skillfully and actively protecting the wounded. Thanks to her example, the rest of the warriors joined in protecting their injured comrades. The confrontation dragged on until only one criminal remained standing. Eregän faced him, managed to knock him down and leave him defenseless on the ground. However, at that moment, looking into the criminal's eyes, she perceived an expression of profound despair. Despite this, the crowd began to shout for her to execute him. However, Eregän was unable to strike the blow, for she will never intentionally harm anyone. She was about to pull her sword away from the criminal when he slid and plunged it directly into his own heart, killing him instantly. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Despite the audience reaction, Eregän was still in shock. After that, all the warriors, now gladiators, returned to their cells. Leo waited for Eregän in the infirmary to treat her wounds. There, Eregän asked him in a confused and distressed voice, "Why that man used my sword to stab himself? I don't understand. I could see a mixture of fear and despair in his eyes, but I don't know why." Leo explained that the man was probably desperate to end his life, perhaps because he had no one else left. Or maybe was seeking redemption through death, having suffered so much that he could no longer bear. Eregän remained silent. Then Leo warned her that she would have to get used to this. He reminds her that if the fights before were being just for entertainment, now with hoplites involved, the public will demand much more of this. There will always be violent confrontations, even without the excitement of using others as gladiators. Eregän will have to accept this reality. However, Leo praised her. I was surprised by your attempt to forgive that man and your leadership over the other warriors. You should be proud of the kindness you showed today, something a few people possess. This encouraged Eregän, who accepted that this was her new life and that she will have to adapt in order to survive. What will the future hold for our heroine? Will she manage to survive, or she will crumble to despair? Only fate will know. This story will continue.
Se apaga la llama. Y aunque la herida arda en la tierra, el sol traerá nueva primavera. De las cenizas brotará